Hi there, Eric from Global Comics. In this video, we're going to walk through the Global Comics Community Marketing Toolkit. This is essentially a set of spreadsheets that are designed and built to make your workflow around creating Twitter posts and Reddit posts in batches a little bit easier, as well as just generate UTM links for you. As a reminder, UTM parameters are a way of making your links trackable. If you don't know what those are or how they show up on Global Comics, we do have a video for that already made. If you're on YouTube, it's going to be in the top corner to take a look. And also I've linked it directly inside of the sheet as well. Recommend you start there just so you have some foundational information. So once you land on this, you're going to notice it's view only. So you're going to come up and click File, make a copy, and that way you have your own copy in your drive that you're going to be able to use. It's going to be private, and that's going to be that. On the instructions page below how to make that copy, we're going to list the tabs and their function with some relevant information. So there's three categories. They're color-coded. We have our Twitter tool, which is going to help you batch create posts. It's going to help you auto format everything and create a link that auto relates tweets for you. You're going to have something similar to what that looks like on Reddit, and then two tools built off of that. One is going to be a pivot table, which is a fancy way of saying just a way of reorganizing the information on the first tab here to be able to see, where you've posted, what comics you've posted, when they were posted, etc. And then finally, a subreddit checker. You can go and actually paste a link into this tab, as you'll see, and it'll tell you where you have posted that previously. Finally, we just have a general UTM generator. And if you know what UTMs are, you'll see what that actually looks like, because that's a component in both the Twitter and Reddit sheet. And then, we'll see that at the very end, just as a review. Let's hop in. So I've already created an example, tweet here, and let's go from left to right. Everything that has a green heading is going to be something that you're going to want to change for sure. You are able to manipulate the sheet however you like and delete out the different formulas that we've created, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you are already advanced and comfortable with how you want to organize this information. So at the first level, we're going to put in our date, the time posted, or the time we're planning to post it, the copy and format. And by the way, if you need to make an enter, you have to just hit Control Enter inside of the sheet in order to do that. Whatever hashtags you want at the end of that particular tweet, and that's going to fill in the first part of this tweet text here. It's going to synthesize these two, and then we're going to jump over here to column J, which is your link that you're going to be sharing out on that tweet if you're putting a link there. If you're sharing a link for reading, we always recommend page 1 of whatever issue. It's just a best practice. It has a significant impact on readership. And then once you put that link in, this is auto-filled because it's a social medium on Twitter, and it's going to create the campaign name from the comic you put in. It's going to autofill the time and date based on what you put on the left side of the sheet. That will then create this URL automatically. Again, all you have to do is fill in the green column. And then that's going to put the URL underneath the tweet copy. And then this is the magic part. It's going to have a Twitter intent URL that encodes all of this text. When we click it, it auto creates this tweet for you. Now, what's great about it is because of Twitter's desktop client, you can schedule. So let's say you wanted to write 20 tweets and you don't necessarily have the tech, the tool like a Hootsuite or something to, auto manage that. This is a free version of that functionality. You can create 20 tweets. You can then go through that flow that I just did, create your tweets for the week, be done with it, set it and forget it, while also, being able to have a global view that keeps you saying, okay, this is the topics that I want to make sure I'm covering. These are the hashtags I want to make sure I'm covering, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, it's trackable. So you're going to know how it performs. And that's one of the critical pieces of digital marketing. Now, we have something very similar to that in our Reddit content posting sheet. You're going to put in your date. This is the copy of the post. So this is going to be sort of the title text of the Reddit post. You'll see what that looks like on the platform. This is, of course, a self-reminder. This does not show up in the information, but you always want to make sure you mark things NSFW if they are. Then you take your URL, right, your other green column here. You're going to put that in there. autofilled social Reddit, autofilled campaign name based on what we just talked about. And then this time you're going to fill in the particular subreddit that you're looking for. So in this case, we're going to do r-global comics. As an example, if we go to Reddit, let's just go there. If we go to Reddit and we want to go to our comic books, it would be the name of this particular subreddit, of course, is our comic books. In our sheet, we have it formatted as r-comic books. It would look like this. What our formulas do here is they then bring everything into that UTM. It's going to tell me not to change this. That's okay. And it's going to fill in all that information we just talked about. And then similar, it created an encoded URL here that when we click it, it's going to take us to Global Comics. It's going to give us the copy that we use. I'll zoom in here just a little bit. And then it's going to give us the UTM. Now, the thing about Reddit that's a little bit different than Twitter is that in addition to, let's say, things like hashtags, right, you always need to know your context. So I wouldn't recommend necessarily just hopping into a subreddit because there's usually rules. And the rules always show up on the right bar underneath this little header box. So for example, self-promotion. We in our subreddit allow and encourage it, but we do have some limits. Otherwise, it becomes a bit of mayhem. Every subreddit is going to have its own individual rules. So I'm sure we'll have another explainer on this, but in general, pick a couple that you think you can sort of look at, pay attention to the rules, see how the community likes to operate before you start posting in there. That includes using things like Flare. So a Flare just shows, let's say, free preview. That is what's going to show up at the bottom of the post when people see it in order for them to know something about what to expect. This is the NSFW tag I was telling you about as well. And of course, there's more things involved here, and each subreddit will have its own. I'm going to click on this just so we can see what posts end up looking like. Obviously, I upvote most of them. In this case, we have that text we were talking about, the UTM tracked link here, and then the free Flare that we talked about. Now, this pivot table, every time you make a post, it starts to populate, and it shows you kind of in a list. And then you can, of course, filter and see, when was the last time something posted, how many things were posted in a particular subreddit, what comics were posted when, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't know what pivot tables are, highly recommend just watching an explainer. There's a lot of great stuff out there. And then finally, the subreddit checker. What's great about this is if we take this link right here, subreddit checker, it's going to automatically tell us based on this sheet where we've posted it before. So this is more of a tool when you've already been using this for a couple months. Let's say you've made 50 posts, 100 posts, and you want to say, okay, I really want to share out my link again. Where have I actually shared it? And it's going to tell you where that is. And it'll auto fill out as soon as you start adding more to this first sheet here. Finally, we just have our general UTM generator. This is already a component that we saw in the other sheets, but this is so, let's say you're not doing an auto post on Twitter or one of these generated posts on Reddit, but you just want to be able to track because you're sending out things in your newsletter, your own site, other social media sites, things like that maybe we don't have the ability to create that same exact workflow for. This is the way to do that. This is something that you can, if you Google UTM generator, they're all available for free all over the internet. But this one happens to be built into our sheet like this. And that way you have the ability to create trackable links, and being able to track your promotion and how successful it is a huge part of what digital marketing offers. And therefore, it's worth spending a little bit more time doing so, even if it's, a tad more labor, because then you actually get to know how effective it is. And that's kind of the whole thesis of this sheet. If there's a way to make this just a little bit easier, a little bit faster, a little bit more streamlined, then we think it's the right thing to do. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us as always. If there's comments below, feel free to comment below, and happy promoting. We'll see you soon.